Hello, welcome to Pro Mixing and Mastering. Today I'm going to show you one of the producer secrets on how to mix clear mixes. Before you go to Cubase, or before you start mixing in Cubase, make sure that you do this to your instruments before you go to your vocals. This is going to really help you and help your mix to really sound very clear. So what is that secret? So I've got this instrument right here. Now here is the secret. The secret is this. Let me go to view channel track and show you what I'm talking about. I'm gonna come to pattern and come to, I want you to see what I did to this hat. Check this out. The hat is sounding the way it is sounding because I did this to it. I sent it to the mixer, and this is what you do. Onto your hat, make sure that you separate each individual instrument to their own frequency range, or else everything is gonna play in the same frequency. What am I talking about? This is what I did. So throw in an EQ, any EQ that you have. I'm using Fruity Parametric EQ2. And check this out. I wrote off all these frequencies and just remained with the frequency that hi-hat plays from. For example, when I take this, I'm gonna take this back, and I want you to take a listen to how the hi-hat is gonna sound in the instrumental, with the instrumental. Suddenly the hi-hat is playing onto the kick side and also onto the snare side. Those frequencies are brought in, and what usually happens is that you end up having a muddy track, and no matter how you try to like fix your vocals, though not really sound the way they are supposed to be sounding. Why? Because there is a certain instrument that is playing on a certain vocal range or a certain vocal frequency. So the most important thing is make sure that you start cleaning your hats first, because that is really gonna help your vocals to really stand out. So I want you to take a listen to how it sounds after everything is added into the hat. So the hat is not cleaner because all those frequencies are mixed up. So now I'm gonna roll it off to its place of frequency and see how the instrument and everything will sound cleaner. And suddenly, right there, the instrument and the hat starts sounding professional and better. So once you are done, remember, just use any EQ that you have. Once you are done, go to the other instruments. For example, the snare. Snare also has certain frequency ranges where, you know, they tend to like wrestle with the vocal. So you have to put the snare you have to clean it up so that it doesn't really mess up your vocal frequencies. So what am I talking about? Let's go to our mixer and check out this snare. So this is the snare right here, and look at what I did. I added an EQ. So you just have to put an EQ and set your snare to its frequency range. For example, the snare doesn't need to start fighting with the hat, so I cut off a little bit of that higher frequency where the hat plays from, and then I did draw off a little bit of low end where the kick plays from, and set it up in its own frequency range so that when the vocal kicks in, there will not be a battle between the snare and the vocal. This is what I'm talking about. So I'm going to play this by taking this back and see how the snare will start sounding heavier. Suddenly the snare is sounding a little bit heavier because there is this frequency right here onto the vocal, where the vocal has the low end and also the kick and the bass. So this is really gonna mess up the bass, the vocal bass, and just instrument bass. So what to do is make sure that you take this all the way to a place where the snare is gonna be playing from. There is a frequency, especially when the snare hits, that's the frequency where your EQing should be. So let me set that. I think right there the snare sounds better. Now let's say you want more body to your snare, and you can use other plugins to like put more body, like multi-band compressor, just to add body to your snare if you wanted your snare to really sound buzzy and all the likes like that. But what I'm trying to show you is that you just have to make sure that your snare is somewhere here, and then you roll off a little bit of that hi-hat frequency range so that the hi-hat can be playing on its own frequency, and snare also should be playing on its own frequency range, and in that way your vocals too are gonna find a place where they will be also playing from. In that way you will end up getting a clear mix. And then the rest of the instruments, like the kick and everything, also they have their own frequency playing range. Let's say for example there is this kick right here, and I have an EQ. I rolled off the highs and I left the low, the low side where the kick, the kick has to have a little bit of that low, so I left this place. So the kick has a place where the low is playing from, and every individual instrument has its own frequency where it plays from. And I have my contact here, and this is more like, this is the piano. When we come to where the piano is playing from, this one. So the piano has that low, bass and all that. You literally just have to make sure that you take out some of that low and leave the piano where it is supposed to be playing from. And then from there you end up having a cleaner instrument, and your vocals too are gonna sound cleaner because they will be playing in the frequency allocated for them. So I hope this video has helped you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.